I'm Jane Douglas, and we're here at the Ralph Lauren Paint Studio. As you'll see, the Ralph Lauren Paint Collection introduces a whole new concept of design, from a unique color palette to special finishes and revolutionary techniques. Now, I'm going to be showing you some of these new techniques. We suggest that you watch the tape and try them on a spare piece of prepped board or drywall before doing them in your home. Okay, let's get started with denim and chambray. The great American work shirt, the broken-in appeal of a favorite pair of jeans. Ralph Lauren has captured the feel and texture of these classic fabrics in paint. The illusion is created through a surface that is imprinted with a subtle woven pattern, like the cotton threads of fine cloth. Ralph Lauren transforms America's favorite fabrics into walls of saturated colors, faded by wear. To create the look of denim or chambray on your walls, you have to use what's called a subtractive painting technique. Now, don't get nervous. All this means is that you apply a translucent paint called glaze over a base coat, and then you work the glaze with some special tools to create the woven texture of denim or chambray fabric. It's actually a lot of fun, but it does require a couple of steps to do it. Before you do anything, you have to prepare, tape, and base coat all of your walls the way that we have here in the demo room. Make sure to use 2 coats of Ralph Lauren interior latex gloss or semi-gloss enamel. There are instructions for how to prep and base coat walls on the sides of your Ralph Lauren paint cans. Okay, let's look at the tools you're going to need for the technique. Both the denim and chambray glazes are applied to the wall in sections. Now, this is because the glazes only stay workable for about 15 to 20 minutes. So, the first thing we're going to do is divide the room into equal panels. For this, you will need a tape measure, a chalk plumb line, and painter's tape. Now, we found 3M long mask masking tape in the 2-inch width works the best. And of course, throughout the project, you'll need a ladder and drop cloths. Next, we'll put on the glaze, section by section. For this, you will need Ralph Lauren Aging and Technique glaze that's been tinted to your chosen color. You'll need a paint tray and a liner, a roller frame like this one, and a good supply of lint-free rags. You'll also need the contents of the Ralph Lauren Technique kit, a roller cover, the Ralph Lauren Fitch Edge tool, and the key to it all, the Ralph Lauren Denim or Chambray weaving tool. If you're doing the denim technique, you'll also get the Ralph Lauren check roller in your kit. The last thing we'll do is stencil on a stitching pattern where the panels of the denim or the chambray come together. For this, you'll need a roll of Ralph Lauren stencil tape and the Ralph Lauren stencil paint with built-in brush. You'll find these items in both the denim and the chambray kits. Oh, and there's one more thing you'll need for the project. A helper. I've enlisted Ben Thompson, one of the painters from our studio. Hi, Ben.
Hi, Jane.
You ready?
Let's get started.
Okay, let's go. As I mentioned earlier, when you're doing the denim or chambray techniques, you have to paint the wall in sections. In a room with an 8-foot ceiling like this one, the sections should be about 42 inches or 3.5 feet wide. To find out exactly how wide to make them for your particular room, refer to the instruction literature supplied with your Ralph Lauren Technique kit. Our section width turns out to be exactly 42 inches, so we're going to divide the room into 42-inch sections. Start from the most prominent corner of the room and, measuring in both directions, make a pencil mark at the top of the wall every 42 inches, or whatever your particular section width turns out to be. These marks will be where the seams in the denim or chambray sections will fall. When you get to a corner, one of 2 things will happen. If the section ends less than 2 inches from the corner, you can adjust the measurement and end in the corner anyway. But you'll probably have some sections like this one where the measurement takes you around the corner and onto the next wall. This is fine. Just go right around the corner the way you would with wallpaper. And when you get to windows and doors, just continue measuring as if they weren't there at all. If the seam falls really close to a window or door frame, just make the section a little wider or narrower so that the seam isn't exactly on the edge of the frame. You'll find more information about measuring and sectioning in the instruction literature supplied with the Ralph Lauren Technique Kit. Next, drop a chalk plumb line down from your marks near the ceiling to the floor. Want me to shake it a little bit?
No, it's okay.
And strike the lines on the wall.
Straight out.
Now comes a little tricky part. The glaze is applied alternately to odd and even sections. Odd sections one day, even sections the next. Treat sections that have a corner in them as two separate sections to be painted on different days. Put a piece of tape in the middle of all the even-numbered sections to remind yourself not to paint them on the first day. Next, we mask off the odd-numbered sections with painter's tape. Here you go, Ben. These are the sections that we will paint on the first day. Tape right up to the chalk lines without covering them. Make sure to tape on the side of the line that's inside the panels with the X's in them, not inside the panels you're going to paint. Once you've put down a strip of tape, go over it with a spoon to seal it so no glaze can seep underneath. Oh, and wipe off the chalk line. If you don't, it'll show up through the glaze. And if you haven't already done it, make sure to tape along the ceilings and moldings as well. Don't forget to remove all switch plates and tape over the exposed outlets and switches too. The Ralph Lauren denim and chambray techniques are almost identical, except of course when it comes to the color of the glaze. We're using this farmer's jacket glaze, which is in the denim family. But whether you're using a denim color or a chambray color, it goes on just about the same way. When you're starting with a fresh roller like this, roll it in the glaze and let it soak in for a few minutes before you start using it. Once it's soaked in, roll it one more time through the glaze and head for the wall. Roll a thin layer of the glaze onto the first panel, starting at the top of the wall and working downwards. You'll need about 4 rollers full for a typical 8 by 3.5 foot section. Get as close as you can to the tape along the ceiling and floor, and roll a little bit over it on the sides. Dip the Ralph Lauren Fitch Edge tool in the glaze and dab it with a quick jabbing motion into all the places you can't get with the roller. In the corners, along the trim work, around switches and outlets, and up by the ceiling. The glaze only remains workable for about 15 minutes, so time is of the essence. Place the Ralph Lauren denim or chambray weaver on the tape at the top left corner of the first section. Press firmly and sweep it deftly across the glaze in a straight, even stroke. Use the other side of the weaver and come back. Then wipe off the excess glaze with a lint-free rag. Now go back over what you've done a second time, back and forth, so that each horizontal strip gets 4 passes in all with the weaver. Notice Ben is starting and ending his strokes on the tape. This prevents pooling of the glaze along the tape edge. Move down and do the same process again. When you get to an outlet, just continue right over it without stopping. Once you've done all of the horizontal strokes, drag the weaver from the ceiling all the way to the floor in one long, very light vertical stroke. The bristles in the weaver shouldn't bend at all. Make sure you aren't erasing the horizontal strokes. And if you find that you are erasing them, just back up, do another horizontal stroke, and try again. When you reach the floor or baseboard, wipe off the weaver, move the ladder a little bit, and do another vertical stroke next to the first one. The trickiest part about all this is positioning the ladder just right so you can comfortably step down as you're doing the technique. You should also get your helper to move the ladder out of the way as you step off of it. The main difference between the denim technique and the chambray technique happens at this point. If you're doing the chambray technique, you need to do 2 vertical passes over the glaze instead of 1. This gives the surface that fine weave you expect to find in a chambray fabric. Start at the ceiling and go to the floor. Clean the weaver, then climb back up the ladder and go over what you did a second time. If you're doing the chambray technique, you're finished working the glaze at this point. If you are doing the denim technique, you have one more step to go, and it involves the check roller. The check roller adds a subtle faded look to the finish, which is what you'd expect from a worn denim fabric. You can roll it over the entire section, both vertically and horizontally, the way we're doing it here, or use it only in some areas to achieve a more random pattern in the finish. After each pass, wipe off the excess glaze with a rag. When you finish the section, make sure to clean the check roller as described in the instruction booklet. While the glaze is still wet, remove the tape from the side edge of the section you've just done. If you wait, some of the glaze may come off with the tape. Now we'll move on to the next odd-numbered section, which is the corner. In both the denim and chambray techniques, you have to do things a little differently when you get to a corner. Instead of working in both directions on the horizontal strokes, the weaver should be drawn away from the corner all 4 times. This prevents glaze from collecting in the corner. Allow 24 hours for the odd-numbered sections to dry. Then come back and do the even-numbered sections. But before you start on the even sections, you have a decision to make about the seams. Here you go, Ben. Depending on where you put the painter's tape, you'll get either a subtle seam or an emphasized seam. We've decided to make an emphasized seam, complete with stitching pattern. To do this, place the tape so a 1/16 to 1/8 inch strip of glaze shows along the edge of it. That way, when you paint this section, the glaze will be 2 coats thick along this strip, and you'll really get the look of a fabric seam. Okay. After you've decided how you want the seams to look, tape off all the sections and glaze the even-numbered panels just the way we did the odd-numbered ones. Well, it just looks great.
Yeah. By the way, as the glaze dries, it will get a little lighter, so all the panels will match.
Okay, so we're going to let this dry for 24 hours, then we'll come back and put on the finishing touches. After you've allowed the even sections to dry for 24 hours, it's time for the final step that really makes the wall look like denim or chambray. Roll out the Ralph Lauren stencil tape right along the edge of the seam.
There's your seam there.
Then brush the stencil paint over the stitch lines with the built-in stencil brush. Once you've finished, pull off the tape and move on to the next seam. It looks great. We're done. The illusion is complete. There's a distinct essence to leather, the rich burnished hues of a saddle or a vintage leather chair. Ralph Lauren's antique leather paint technique captures this essence on walls. Gently modeled surfaces with subtle tonal distinctions bring depth, texture, and elegance to any room. To create the look of antique leather on your walls, the Ralph Lauren Aging and Technique glaze, tinted to the leather color of your choice, is applied over the recommended base coat color. And then the glaze is modeled with the Ralph Lauren stippler to achieve the warmth and feel of antique leather. We've already taped and base coated the walls of the demo room with 2 coats of Ralph Lauren Thoroughbred 18B interior latex semi-gloss enamel. There are instructions for how to prep painted and unpainted walls on the sides of your Ralph Lauren paint cans. One thing that I should mention is that the walls do not have to be perfectly smooth for the antique leather technique to work. It'll look great on rough walls as well. So let's take a look at the tools you're going to need. For the antique leather technique, you'll need the Ralph Lauren Latex Aging and Technique glaze tinted to the leather color of your choice. You'll need a paint tray and a liner, a roller frame like this, and some paper bags and lint-free rags. You'll also need the contents of the Ralph Lauren Antique Leather Technique Kit, a roller cover with a 3/8 inch nap to it, the Ralph Lauren Stippler, and the Ralph Lauren Fitch Edge tool. You'll also need a ladder, drop cloths, and a helper. I decided to tint the glaze with this rich waxed chestnut color. Pour the glaze into the pan and let the roller soak in it for a few minutes. And then you'll roll the roller through one more time and you're ready to go. Glaze only stays workable for 15 to 20 minutes, so you need to work as a team to do this technique. I'm going to roll the glaze on, and Ben is going to follow behind me with the Fitch Edge tool and the Stippler. We'll work across the whole wall and end at the line of tape we put up at the corner. You ready, Ben?
Let's go.
Roll the glaze on evenly in a straight line. Try to get as close to the ceiling and trim work as you can. You'll need a little more than one roller full for each strip in a room with an 8-foot ceiling. As you roll, the other person fills in the places you can't get to with the Ralph Lauren Fitch Edge tool. Once you've rolled and edged a single strip, it's time for the Stippler. Start up high and move downward, modeling the wall with quick head-on jabs. Vary the pattern you're making in the glaze by constantly turning the Stippler in different ways before you hit the surface of the wall. Wipe off the bristles of the Stippler after every 20 jabs or so to prevent glaze from building up on it. Leave about 2 inches unstippled at the edge of the rolled strip. The next strip of glaze should be applied so it comes right up to this edge without overlapping it. Once the next strip has been rolled on, stipple over the seam right away, blending the edges together so you don't leave a vertical line on the surface. Use the Ralph Lauren Fitch Edge tool to stipple up close to the ceiling, the moldings, and the corners. Make sure to clean it after every 20 jabs or so. Finally, hit the surface of the wet glaze very lightly with a crumpled up brown paper bag. This helps create an antiqued look in the finish. You and your partner just keep working across the entire wall like this until it's done. It's a little like a dance or maybe an aerobic exercise. One really important thing to remember is not to let the person rolling get too far ahead of the person stippling. If this happens, the glaze will start to dry. The roller should never be more than 1 strip ahead of the stippler. Once you finish the first wall, remove the tape right away before the glaze dries, and then start in on the opposite wall. When you've done that, come back and glaze the last 2 walls. It looks great, and that's all there is to it. With the historic crackle and aging techniques, Ralph Lauren offers 2 ways to lend the appeal of age to painted surfaces, wallpaper, and furniture. Historic crackle is a medium that's applied between 2 different colors, a base coat and a top coat. As the top coat dries, the medium causes cracks to appear in it, revealing glimpses of the base coat beneath. The cracking mimics the effect of years of wear for an instantly antique look. The aging finish mellows the patina of paint or wallpaper. It comes in 4 different shades. Sun fade lightens the surface as if curtains were left open, letting in the sun's bleaching rays. There are also 3 other tints which darken the surface by varying degrees, from a pale tea-stained hue to a darker smoke shade, and finally, a richly deepened tobacco. As you can see, the innovative colors, techniques, finishes, and accessories of the Ralph Lauren paint collection introduce a new concept of design that will add character and style to your home.